Welcome everyone to Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. How are your holidays going? Still munching on leftovers? Whatever it is, come on in, join us, grab your tea or coffee or Mountain Dew. But anyway, smudging everyone and sending it in. We're going to have a fun show today because we have our friend Jessica Dugas on. Now, this woman is so amazing, but I haven't kept up like I wanted to. And so today we get to do that. But she has been amazing, a teacher to me and guide. She pulls things out that's like, oh my God, how did Jessica know that? Is she watching? No. And then the moon stuff, you taught me so much about the phases of the moons and things. And so I love all you do. You have that breakthrough show, and I've seen you doing some singing. Oh my God, Jessica. So welcome to Spirit Sessions and tell us what you've been up to.
Thank you so much for having me back in. So I had to get a little nostalgic and I went back and watched when I was on this show the first time, which was almost 3 years ago.
Too long.
Wow.
Wow.
Long time, a few minutes
Yeah.
ago, as we say in Alabama. It's a minute ago. But yeah, it was a while ago, and it was so cool to get a little nostalgic and watch that because that was in March of 2018, which was before I started the Breakthrough Show.
Right?
And so it was at a very different time in my life. And, you kind of look back and you can see little glimpses of yourself still there, like the things that we hold deep down in our soul, in our core of who we are. But, gosh, times have changed though. And it was really nice to acknowledge the growth and changes that I've experienced within myself since that time. And it's also watching old interviews is also a little bit of a cringy moment. It's just like, oh my, like that was special. That was
You had that great meditation, the red ball at the top of the mountain meditation melting.
yeah.
It's like, ooh, that was a good one.
Yes. I'm still very visual person in that way to where I think I've always kind of had that ability to create a space. And that's been such a huge part of my personal development, even in the last couple of months, is acknowledging that and realizing that that in itself is such a gift and it's enough. Like I think recently I've had all of these, because I've always been this very creative person, right? And going like, I'm always creating in my mind, like, oh, this would be such a great idea. And this would be such a great idea. And let's do all the things. And, the shiny object syndrome, so to speak. And, but I think some of that comes from feeling like I need to do more. I'm not doing enough. And so I'm always in this kind of creative process and going. And then I had this whole realization about a month ago when I said, no, I am the value. I don't need to keep creating value because I am the value. And whatever I happen to create in the moment is, it's how ironic that the host of the Breakthrough Show has a breakthrough moment herself. So it was nice to experience that recently.
It's bound to happen, though.
Absolutely.
One of these days, right?
And that's such a
No, I
powerful
love
one to
that.
have, though. Yeah. I mean, to realize that, to be able to step out of your own, thought process and be able to see, like, because we all get caught up in that of like, oh, I have to do more. I have to give more. I have to be more. And we forget that just being who we are is what we're meant to do. That's it. Like, we don't
Right.
have to give except just to be,
Right.
And I love that. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I see we have people from all over, right from coast to coast today.
Yeah, we
So,
do. Hey,
yeah.
Brian.
Hey, Brian and Linda and Kelly and Candace, thank you for joining us. Let us know where you're
It's
coming
Susan's
from.
birthday today. Brian's
Oh, happy
wife,
birthday.
Susan
Yeah.
Brand.
So
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't today the last episode of season 4 for us?
it is.
Yes.
Isn't our? I think it might be.
Yeah, it is. It's episode 52, and I'm so happy that Jessica's here because it feels like sort of a circle complete. because because you know
home.
it's coming home. It's like circling back and just like seeing your growth in the last few years. Like not always being, but you know, checking in every once in a while and going, "Wow, things have changed since that squirrel was going around your house." You
Well,
know,
there's still squirrels. There will always be squirrels.
but I just love seeing the difference in the changes in you, and so much has changed. I mean, your family's grown up, so that's given you a time to change and grow up as well, right? When your kids get older and you're allowed to develop a little bit more outside of the mummy role, because of course that's going to be forever, but you're able to learn from them as well.
Children are a fantastic reminder that things are constantly changing. We don't have, I mean, we always have control of how we're handling things and how we're processing things. The beautiful nature of this human life is our ability to choose. However, things outside of us are constantly shifting and changing and moving, and we can't control that. We can't control that what is, and but we can control how we process things and all of that. So the kids are a fantastic reminder that things can continue to change around us, but we can choose how we see that, how we view it, how we choose to whether we choose to internalize it or not. Because that's real easy as a parent. I think one of the things recently that has been in my mind is that there's this anxiety with being a parent that's, I think, is always present from the moment our children are born, because we have this realization like, oh, we don't get a money back guarantee with this one. Like there's no like, if you break it, you bought it, like that. That's it, and so it's this constant within me, recognizing how much anxiety has been present in me for the last 21 years of going, like, feeling like I'm going to screw it up at any moment, and so it's really an opportunity that we get to have. I think being a parent has taught me so much about getting to choose, getting to say, this part is on them. I don't necessarily need to internalize all of this. I did the best that I could in the moment. And lots of little anecdotes like that I think have stuck with me. But the biggest thing is that ability to choose and just laugh it off, for the love of God. There's sometimes that's all you can do. That's it.
Yeah, I like that.
And having adult children or newly adult children is no joke.
It is not.
It is not.
I am so sorry.
Not fun.
I'm so sorry for any time that I complained about the toddler years. I apologize for any time that I
wasn't
said
it nice now you know nothing
so much.
When you were a toddler, you were the god and the creator and the dictator and whatever else, but now you know nothing and you're an idiot. So
yeah, that's it.
Yes.
We regress.
Yes.
Oh well.
Yeah. I miss the young babies, because now I have 2 teenagers and 2 new adults, and I'm telling you, I understand why animals eat their young. I do. There's some days, but then there's the reminders that when they get all sweet, but it's just like, holy crap. I do. I miss when I was their everything.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I love that they're getting their own, their independence, but like watching them, have to maneuver this crazy world we've been going through the past 2 years. It's a lot, it's a lot for them to be at this really pivotal point in their development and have to go through this craziness. Like, here's us who, have gotten through a lot of the hard stuff, and we're having a hard time managing sometimes this crap that's been going on. So for them, being able to just hold space for them and guide them the best that we can to get through this has been crazy.
It kind of gives us, like, I don't know if you felt it too, maybe a bit of more empathy for our parents, like my parents who went through World War II. Right. Because it's kind of, it's a little bit similar. Like the world is just all of a sudden it's different, right? And everything's changed, and people are here and there, and there's division and all sorts of things. Like a whole social upheaval went on at that time, and now we have another social upheaval, and kids are never going to be what we were like when we grew up in relative ease and peace and craziness and 80s hair. Um,
That's such a cool thing, though, to look at the other generations as well, because we do, again, going back to choice, we do have the opportunity, I feel like, especially those of us in this kind of constant space of spiritual and personal development, to make a different experience for our kids. And one of the things that I was sharing with my kids lately is like, sometimes I'm so proud when they have an opinion that differs than mine, and express that, because it's painful. It's painful. Don't get me wrong about that. It's sometimes, that they'll say something and I'm like, man, I thought they believed like I do with that, and I thought this was something we could have in common. But at the same time, being able to go, wow, how amazing is it that we have been able to create this space where they feel safe to express what they believe. And again, I have the choice whether I can, I need to feel like I need to internalize that and make it something that's a big deal, or just go, man, wow, that's awesome. That's great that you believe that way. And
Yes.
and that's not something I feel like a lot of us were afforded by our parents and our grandparents. There's a few that I've met that had a very sort of free thinking household, but it's more rare, I think, with us. I don't know about you ladies, but it was kind of like, this is how it is, and this is what you believe, and this is what you taught, period, end of story.
Right.
And it feels really nice to be able to create a different environment for my children now, because throughout the whole stuff that we've been going through since early last year, I feel like they've really had this beautiful blossoming into exploring what it is that they believe in, what they know to be true.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing experience to watch them become their own people. I know that once mine hit their teens, they all developed their own opinions. So
Yeah.
that's been a very, very
Yes.
big, not issue, but a very big standing situation in this house. There's 4 of them, so they all have their own independent beliefs. And of course, all of them, once they hit that rebellious phase, are not anything close to what mine is, which is, I've learned to, at first it was like, what do you mean? Like, that's not how you were raised. That's not what we talk. And then because I wasn't quite there yet with the embracing.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, you know what? You're entitled to whatever you choose to believe, and that's okay. And that's how you're going to experience the world. And, we all get to do that.
Yeah.
That's our
It's so
freedom. That's our
exciting.
sovereignty. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's embracing
It
that
is.
its sovereignty
Right.
and being able to stand up for themselves. I think is
Yeah.
the best thing we can import into our children. Is like,
Because-
doesn't matter, because that will keep them safe and give them a way into the world better than
Yeah.
anything else.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've raised them to be the free thinkers. We've raised them to think for themselves, and when they do it, it's like, okay, good.
Yes.
Like this hurts, but
Yeah. Because I had that, and Anthony, like a couple years ago, said, you can't control me. And for a minute, all these other things went through my mind, and I might as well die. I mean, all these crazy, but the truth was, you know what? That's what I raised her to do, to think for herself, not for me to control her. But now, in these ages and the things that's going on, this is when their karma and stuff, everything they came here to do starts happening and working through them. So I get to stand back and watch.
Exactly. I think success for me, like with parenting, has been the realization that, supporting them to have their own views, their own perspectives, their own experiences, and them still feeling safe to come home and talk to me about it, to still reach out and look for support, because that way they know they can reach out, they can try things, they can do things, and know that, when they get stuck, they can still say, hey, Mom, this is kind of what I'm going through. Like, and they may not always like what I say. Chances are most of the time they don't, but they still come back and ask, So that for me, I think, has been the real, like, that's the gold of the challenges, if you will, the silver lining. But what do we do with this? Like, okay, so we've gotten them this far, and all of us this far, and all these, I would say, diamonds in the rough of this past year. Now, what do we do with it moving forward?
I think, I've gone through all of these. What does it mean to be successful? Because part of so my oldest, my kids are homeschooled. So let me start by saying that. So they're homeschooled and we don't do anything traditionally in this house. But last year, my son graduated in the midst of all of this. And there was so much pressure, like and even me, and remembering the pressure that I felt when I graduated to like figure it out, to like have it all lined up and packaged and with a nice bow on it. This is what I'm going to do with my life. And I never felt like I really knew. I haven't really figured it out until the last couple of years. And so I was thinking about like all of the stuff that happened with him, and how many people are like, well, is he going to go to school? Is he going to work? And I'm like, I told him to take his time, because for me, I wasn't going to push him out into the world and like in the midst of the craziness that was happening May, June last year, and go fly, push him right out of the nest to fall on the ground.
Fly into a hurricane. Yeah, go ahead. See how that goes.
And it was, but I felt the pressure myself from other people going, well, you should tell him he has to get a job, and you should tell him he has to do this. And I was like, no. Right. And so all of that happening and all of the stuff with my own self, I was thinking about, what does success really look like? Like, what does it mean to be successful? And I think so much of it is an internal feeling that we have, because I know plenty of people that have tons of money that feel successful, and plenty of people that don't have a lot of money that feel super successful. And I know people who are really healthy that feel successful, and people that aren't really healthy that feel successful. And so there's this huge gamut of things. And with my shows, I've watched and listened to people's stories, and there's never just one thing. It's this very holistic sort of perfect storm of support and education and openness, willingness to learn, and all of these different things that show this great thing. And so as we're moving forward into the new year and looking at our families and our businesses and all of these different things that we do, I sat down and I said, okay, you guys are going to love this. I said, okay, universe, show me what I need to know about going. And I closed my eyes and I literally watched Jesus walk into the room and flip over the table with everything on it.
Right.
And
big changes.
Yep. Yeah. And so to me, that really meant, because, well, first, let me be honest. I was like, can you show me something else? This is not the message that I want to share with the people. And the answer was no. And so,
that's what you get.
Yeah, that's it. But for me, it really meant we have to do things differently than we've always done them, and in a holistic way, and looking at different areas. And I think we are not told that that's okay for us to do as humans. Right. When someone dies, we are taught that we should be sad. When we lose our job, we're taught that we're supposed to be angry. Mm-hmm. When our house burns down, we're supposed to be angry and sad and all of those things. And we're supposed to feel some kind of one way when all of these different things happen in our lives. When we get our first job, we're supposed to be thrilled. Well, what if it's not a job that we really like?
Right.
What if it and so there's all of these different, we are multifaceted people, and we experience a range of emotions around different things that happen. We experience so much at one time, but we don't allow ourselves to do that. And so there's a very holistic nature to us that we have not, I feel like for many years, have not been allowed by society to really tap into. And so I think we need to look at things in a very multi-dimensional way. We need to look at ourselves and allow ourselves to be multi-dimensional. And when we look at when we get to the end of next year and say, well, was this a successful year? We have to be able to not just do like we did in 2020 at the end of 2020 and go, well, this year just sucked.
Right.
Because all we were thinking about was the one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
yeah.
I had to go back and say, but did you laugh at all this year?
Right.
Did you make any money this year at all? Did you smile? Did you tell a joke? Did you get to see did you have any hug at all from any person? Was there anything that you experienced that was good? Because we like to compartmentalize and one thing and one this and one, and that's just not, we can't continue to go on like this, or we're never going to be able to move forward as a people, as a collective.
Yes.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
98% of our life is going on like normal,
Right.
right? We're getting up, we're taking care of our
Autopilot.
kid.
Yeah.
We're cooking, we're cleaning, we're going grocery shopping, we have a house, we're cleaning. All that stuff keeps going on. Our normal life keeps going on, and good, bad, or indifferent, that keeps going on. And we should be praising God that it is going on, because the alternative is that we're under the ground and it's not going on, right?
Exactly.
So we have to count our blessings, and I think that's where gratitude comes in every day, letting you see the upside of everything. And even being locked at home, well, my office view here is a lot better than it was at my other office.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
That's true.
There's another thing that Greg Braden says, that when we come to changes like this, that for us to be able to have gratitude and all these things to be able to move forward, that sometimes you have to go ahead and mourn whatever was the past, whatever it was. It's like, okay, it's not that way no more. Acknowledge it, mourn it, and then pick yourself up and move on from there. Sometimes you need that clean cut to move on.
Absolutely. We're learning how to stop being so attached to everything, and that's a tough lesson, because we've been raised, in society to get attached.
Right.
Get attached to your car, get attached to your home, get attached to everything, your clothes, get attached to, your schedule, get attached to everything. We're dependent on everything and our connection to everything. And I think that, these past 2 years have really shown us, we've become so dependent that we needed to step back. We needed to have it kind of pulled away from us, the normal schedules and the normal way things run, because we can't adapt, we can't grow, we can't truly evolve if we're so busy distracting ourselves and attaching to things that really don't have any meaning. And if we're spending all our time looking for the big moments in life to validate us, we're losing all the small, meaningful moments that make a great life,
And we so easily put things on pedestals as humans. I had a couple different guests on the Breakthrough Show Network this last season who were talking about, obviously it's the Breakthrough Show, so we're talking about the big breakthroughs, but it's never about just the one thing. We always end up talking about the snowball that sort of happens leading up to and then after these moments that we have. And there were people that came on this year. Lucinda Harmon, one of our very first guests from season 1, came back on the show this year. And the first time, I love this when people come back on a show too, because it's so cool to see like the hopes and dreams that they had then, and then watching it all happen. And her big thing was she wanted to be on the TEDx stage. She wanted to speak at TEDx. And last year we saw that happen. She got to go on the stage and speak, and it was beautiful. And then when she came back on the show, she talked about how she had in her mind that this was going to be the thing. This was going to be it for her. Like it was going to be the culmination of her life's work. And, all of this is the TEDx stage is going to be this moment.
Yep.
And afterwards, it just, there was nothing. And it was like, we build ourselves up and we think that this is the way that it's going to be, and we get ourselves all excited and about this one thing that we think is going to change our lives and be all of that, and when it's not, we come crashing down. And again, going back to how we're we're taught to be focused on one thing and fascinated with one thing and do one thing and feel one thing, but when we put all of our energy in that one place, and then afterwards, we're left going, what happened?
Yep.
Like, what's going on here? And it's hard for us. I saw somebody comment, I think it was Linda actually that commented when she said, that's not always easy to do. The thing of it is that so much of what we do is easy, but we complicate it. We make it hard because that's what we're taught to, and that's what we get comfortable doing. And to get a little scientific for a moment, there is a hormonal payoff that happens with these roller coasters that we go on for ourselves. So of course we continue to do the same stuff over and over and over again because that we get that payoff of the roller coaster.
Right.
And the applause for the struggle.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's how many people are experiencing the Christmas crash today.
Well, that's sugar crash for me, but
so long. And then Christmas happens, and after it happens, after everybody opens their presents and everybody has dinner and everything's done, people just drop. They bottom out because it's like, well, it happened. It was great, but now what?
That was me at noon yesterday.
But I mean, it does. Like it's something that we go through every year. We know it's coming. We know the buildup is so big, and then it happens, and we're like, oh, looking around, and it's done, and now what? It's because we have this thing called destination addiction. We're always looking for the next big thing, something else to look forward to, something else to build up and focus on. We're losing the present moment by looking towards the next great thing that we have to do, or that we're working towards, or that we're going to accomplish, or we get to have. Next is going to be New Year's. People are building up for that.
So you think Jesus, well, like the traditional story of him, going through the marketplace and just turning everything topsy-turvy is what's going to happen in 2022? Do you see that for the good thing, for everybody to be looking very closely at the materialistic way they've been treating their sacred life and realizing that there's more? Do you think that might be what he's pointing to?
Well, so I went to look up because I'm rusty, little Catholic girl here is a little rusty on the Bible verses. So I went to go look up, that actual verse in the Bible, and it says, and Jesus went into the temple of God and cast all of them that sold and bought in the temple and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. And as I was kind of processing that, I said, because initially when I saw that vision in my head, I really felt like, well, changes are coming. Like we have to do things differently than we've always done them. Like throw out what you thought and let's, redo this. But I really feel like, especially from processing that passage a little bit, that it's like the last couple of years, Bex, you talked about us needing to go internally and kind of reprocess and take a step back and all of that. But I think throughout that, we had the choice to do that, but still hold the vision for the future. And I think what happened is so many people did that, but then got complacent. And then we're like, oh, well, now we're just going to float along and do what we're told and, do whatever, and not have that. We've lost a little bit of that spark and that fire and that purpose and the drive. And you see it in some people. Some people have gone the opposite way and they're like on the soapbox all the time, and getting out there and sharing their message very strongly. And I certainly appreciate that. But I think as a majority, it's like we've gotten a little bit complacent and just kind of floating along as opposed to really having that spark and that vision. So one of the things that came to me for going into 2022 was ego. Now this is going to get a little touchy because in the spiritual world, we're told, no, ego is not, ego is not a good thing. And we shouldn't be leaning on that. But I'm talking about the healthy part of the ego that fuels our confidence and our ability to use our voices, really activate our throat chakra and, align all of our chakras, like all of that, that fire within us that comes from the healthy part of ego. Now, the positive part of this is this is going to be really good for us on an individual level of going, This is going to help us get our voices back and get out of that place of complacency. The challenge I see coming in is when you have a whole collective of people that are tapping into that ego, it's going to ruffle some feathers and people are going to get uncomfortable. I don't see 2022 as being a cakewalk. And that's really difficult for me to say because I want to be like, it's going to be rainbows and unicorns and butterflies and love and light. And I'm so I'll come back next year and we'll all be celebrating. No, that's just not, I just don't see it that way. But ruffling feathers. And again, it could easily be taken as a message of fear, but we also have the choice, going back to what I was saying earlier, of how we process this and going, man, I have the opportunity to tap into the healthy part of my ego and get very fired up about life and being excited about moving forward. And I'm going to change the damn world.
Right.
So we have the choice to take it as we can be scared of it, or we can say, let's go and flip the damn table and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I think, again, like, as you were talking, what comes through is, how many of us are saying when we get through COVID, when COVID ends, when COVID this, and like so many of us are putting, so much on when COVID ends, right? So many of us are holding out space for things will get better when, right? And yeah, it's not about us waiting for some time when things look better, because there's always going to be a challenge we have to work through. There's always going to be an opportunity for growth. It's not ever going to be a point where things are great and wonderful and stay that way, because we won't grow. We can't just have, it's our perspective, things can be great and wonderful with opportunities to grow. It's just how we look at it. Right. So if we stop looking at something as holding us back, especially collectively, because so many people are like, oh, well, half the people are this and half the people are this and whatever. And it's just this constant division. We have to find a way to come together for the collective good, while supporting and loving each other and respecting each other's different beliefs, and flip that damn table. Right. It's time for us to stand up and say, no, this is not how we want to live our lives. We don't want to have to, feel like we're obligated to
choose a side.
Right, to choose a side and to have to be in this divisive state, because if you're not, how can you be so understanding and accepting when this and this and this, and it's time to put down our shields and our walls and just say, okay, like, we're all in this together, so we're going to find a solution somehow. If we work together, we're going to find a way through this. This is a big challenge for us, so that we can be better people, so that we can be better collectively. Humanity can rise up and shift things in such a positive way that, it won't be better by next year or maybe the year after, but we can start that journey together. We can make those things happen, and we can, it's time. Like, I know personally, I'm tired of the whole like flashing media, all this stuff. Now there's the new one, there'll be another new one. There's always going to be something.
Yeah, it's like it's going to storm. It's going to storm. It's going to storm. Yeah, it's always going to storm.
Right.
But then the sun comes out and we keep going on. Right. We can't put our life on hold for anything, because our life isn't on hold for anything. Right. We just do the best we all can do individually, make smart choices, think of ourselves as in a collective. So what our choices are should be good for everybody at the same time. We make them for individually and for the collective. Right. But, do no harm. Take no shit.
Take no shit, right. And the collective goal should be peace for everyone involved. Yeah. Peace for everyone involved. That should be our motto going into 2022. Because if we're not showing up in that way, that we are intending peace for everyone involved, we've missed the mark. Yeah. It's really,
and I like when you read out that verse and talked about the money changers and the doves, because the money changers, like, there was a time when you were only allowed to use a certain currency in the church, so that's what the money changers would be, and so you only had a certain way to be able to get that savior. So it's quite a lot of visions in this little vision, and the doves, and the only way you could buy your freedom from sin was to buy, a sacrificial dove that was unblemished, because you couldn't bring your own doves from home. You had to get the sanctioned doves from those sanctioned sellers that were paying to the temple. God, I don't remember how I know this stuff. Must have been an audiobook.
Love
So
it.
you're only allowed to use these. So there was people making great profit off the poor people to be able to get their salvation. So in a lot of ways, that's quite a vision when we think of the whole world, when you think
Yeah.
about who's, and so Jesus was tired with the establishment, making tons of money off the backs of the poor. You can take this however you want. And he came in and turned the tables. Like,
Yep.
this is quite a vision if you take it in the highest thought, that
Absolutely.
things are going to change, and the establishment isn't always going to have that iron grip on the rest of the people of the world, but
Right.
things are
Well,
going to follow.
the interesting thing about this is, so I had done an intuitive outlook at the very beginning of 2020. I posted it. I actually did at the end of 2019, and then I shared it on my blog on January 7th, 2020. And I cringed to look back at that, because I was like, did I see what was coming here? like what was going on? But there was one card in particular that I had drawn as like I kind of envisioned everything like I did this year. And then I drew a card to kind of like support my vision. And it was this photo of two different colored hands reaching towards each other. And there were doves flying in the middle. And it was this whole message about the importance of being present in the moment, collaboration. Like, that was my whole message, like not looking too far in the future, but not, living in the past and really being in the moment and all of this. And so then when we went through what we went through in 2020, and at the end of 2020, I was like, am I going to release an intuitive message for 2021? And it was a clear no. It shocked me, because I was like, oh, but I've handled this year, I thought, pretty well. Like, I really want to be hopeful about moving forward. And it was like, no. And I think a big part of that is because we, as kind of going back to that complacency, we as a collective were not ready to make a big shift this year. We were still grasping on to all of that crap from 2020. So now, thinking about the imagery of Jesus and the table and the doves and the money and all this stuff and collaboration and everything else, like, it all goes back to that same image from before all of this started. And it's kind of like, okay, now it's time to make those changes and move forward. So as much as I was in my feelings about not being able to release anything last year, I think it was for a reason, because that was the energy we were in the moment.
Yeah. So you have a meditation for us to move
I
forward.
do.
So
Yay.
we'd like to do that before Teresa was waiting for it, but we never got that fast enough. So she's gone for her Christmas with her family, and we're so happy for her, and we can congratulate her on her new grandchild.
Yes.
So she'll get to celebrate there. So she's left. So, but she's thinking about us, and she'll watch the end of the show when she can. So if you would love to do that, and then she can, and everyone can do this on the replay or whenever, it'll be just as good then, or through our podcast. So
Yes. Yay.
So this is called Loving Kindness Meditation, also known as Metta Meditation. A lot of people have done this before, and I really encourage people to make this a spur of the moment. You don't need to close your eyes and go somewhere, and you can just be where, if you're doing dishes right now, that's okay. If you're driving, please continue to watch the road, but you can say these phrases out loud. Be safe about it. But you can continue. I mean, I've done this as a walking meditation in public before, when I've experienced some anxiety being around all the craziness of the people outside my house. So I just encourage you to do this wherever you're at. If you'd like to, you can take a deep breath with me. And if you'd like to close your eyes or find a focal point in the room, you can do that. Or you can simply go about what you're doing and just listen and repeat. So I invite you now to picture yourself in your mind. You can even look at yourself in a mirror if you can't picture your own self for whatever reason. And as you picture yourself in your mind, I invite you to direct your energy inward as you say these phrases out loud. May I be happy.
May I be happy.
May I be healthy.
May I be healthy.
May I be peaceful.
May I be peaceful.
May I be well. And take a nice deep breath. And I invite you now to call to mind an acquaintance in your life, someone you hold no real feelings for, positive or negative. Could be a cashier at the local grocery store, your mail person, someone you pass by on your daily walk, or to bring it to current times, you scroll by on social media. You may not even know this person's name, but as you picture them in your mind, I invite you to direct your energy toward them as you say these phrases out loud. May you be happy.
May you be happy.
May you be healthy. May you be peaceful. May you be well. And take a nice deep breath. And I invite you now to call to mind a person that you're grateful for having in your life. Someone that you love deeply, you appreciate. It could be a close friend, a family member, or even a colleague. And as you picture this person in your mind, I invite you to direct your energy toward them as you say these phrases out loud. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be peaceful. May you be well. And take a nice deep breath. And I invite you now to call to mind someone who's a challenging individual in your life. This could be someone that you've had an argument with, someone you consider an enemy, someone you feel you need to forgive or may feel needs to forgive you. Allowing any judgment that comes to mind as you picture this person to simply be aware of that judgment and allow it to flow from your being. And as you picture this person in your mind, I invite you to direct your energy toward them as you say these phrases out loud. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be peaceful. May you be well. And take a nice deep breath. And I invite you now to picture the world in your mind. Now you can picture this any number of ways. You can see a globe, a map, maybe the galaxy as you've seen it depicted, perhaps a busy street or a full auditorium. However you picture the world, I invite you to direct your energy outward to all beings everywhere as you say these phrases out loud. May all beings everywhere be happy. May all beings everywhere be healthy. May all beings everywhere be peaceful. May all beings everywhere be well. And take a nice deep breath. And if you are able, place your hands over your heart space. If you're unable to move your hands at this time, simply direct your energy towards your heart for a moment of gratitude for yourself, for those you were able to picture today, for loving kindness, and for this moment. And that's just a little something you can do when you feel like you can't possibly change the whole world. You can in that moment.
That was
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful.
You're welcome.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, Bex, now you have some questions
I
for.
do. I have fun questions.
Yay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. First question. If you had to choose a song to be the theme song of your life, what would that be?
Okay, so my song for the longest time was Just Fine by Mary J. Blige, but I had a fantastic guest on my show. Her name's Olivia Ambani, and she's an incredible singer out of Kenya. And she has a song called Better Than Just Fine. And that has become my anthem ever since I met her. And so shout out to Olivia, but that's my jam.
I love that. That sounds cool. I'll have to check it out. Is it available on any like can you find
Everywhere
it?
you can find music, Olivia
Perfect.
Ambani.
Awesome. All right. Second question. What is your favorite crystal that you are working with right now?
My favorite crystal is always, let's see. I'm having a moment here.
Maybe it's not always now. Shit.
Well, that's what I'm starting to question. I'm like, it's always been my purple stone for my February birthday. And now I'm having a
Amethyst.
moment.
Yeah.
Yes. It's always been amethyst. I feel like I'm going to have to rethink it. It has always been amethyst. That will always have a special place in my heart. But now I feel like I need to rethink that. So now I have homework.
That's funny. I love that. Watching the shift happen in the moment.
I mean, I couldn't even think of what it was called for a minute. I was having a whole time here.
That's great. All right. And the third question is, have you ever experienced extra dimensional intelligence? Meaning, have you had any visits? Have you seen UFOs?
I've had moments where I thought I saw things, but there, especially moments when I think my children maybe part of that. I mean, I think we all have little things, and I have all these little moments that stick out where I'm going, that could have very well been something out otherworldly.
Somebody you've met along the way that might not have been quite from visitor.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, dreams count too. I found out recently. I didn't quite realize. So if you've had dreams of experiences too, those are very valid.
Yeah, I've definitely had those because I have some. Listen, people have dreams and nightmares. I think mine could easily take an award for something. I'm not sure what.
Me too. I feel like I swear to God, I was like, I've had like full movie scripts in my dreams, like full on like Steven Spielberg style, like huge. And I'm just like, I could make money off these if I could remember all the details. But yeah, dreams like that all the time. It's fun. Sometimes it can be a bit daunting, but it's fun.
It is.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. You're getting there, Rhonda. You're remembering dreams a little bit more and more.
Yep.
And the amethyst will help. Like we talked about, putting amethyst. I have one under my pillow. So it helps with dream recall. I'm not
I have
kidding.
a lot of rocks under my pillow right now.
Do they ever slide over onto Dave's side?
Yeah. I'm sleeping on a Vibes Up pad, so that helps.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it made me laugh one time when I thought to myself, I've got all these. I can't understand why I'm not sleeping well. I put all the crystals under my pillow. Well,
yep.
Princess in the Pea. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of energy. A lot of energy. I mean, I have them around me in my bed too, but I try to like give myself a little bit of space.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll have them roll over and end up under me. I'm like, okay, I guess I needed that one last night. But yeah, they're everywhere. You think about it, all the energy that we take on while we're sleeping.
That's cool. So that's been great. So you have the winners too.
I do. I have
I'm
two
so
winners.
happy you could be with us on the last day of our fourth season. And I'm going to upload this into our podcast for those. We have 13 podcasts right now, soon to have 14 podcasts in Spotify, and eventually it'll be an Apple podcast, but it's through Anchor that we've done this. So you can download them and listen to them on the road, because as I've always told my sisters, you don't really need to watch us. You can listen to it because our guests are so great that their meditations and everything else they do, everything we speak of is easily translated into a podcast. So, and next year we'll have the whole year on the podcast, but I've been able to kind of pull some out that didn't disappear in La La Land, so I could translate them. So
Very exciting.
very
Thank you for doing that for us, Rhonda. It's a very cool thing to know that we have a podcast now.
yeah.
Very exciting. But yes, I have two winners because last week we had a pre-recorded show, and if you guys didn't see it, it was with David Rosenthal, who shared his amazing products that he created. There's tonics, fire tonics, and some hot sauce, and they're really high vibe. Amazing process that he makes them with. You should check out that episode because, like, these are incredible. Nancy, one of our favorites, Nancy recommended him, and she was on the show as well. And yeah, so we didn't announce the winner on that episode because it was pre-recorded. So now we have two.
Yeah,
So
and
the
he talked
first-
about, it was great because he talked about food being a real important
Yes.
part of your immune system. So it was really interesting and how he puts love into every bit of food. So something that we can all do.
Like he
Right.
sits and him and his partner would sit and talk. They'll sit and talk to it while it's fermenting or whatever, needing the process it needs to go through. So, talking, speaking love to it, and just like with water, like with the experiments with water, sharing that the vibe that you speak to water with changes the dynamic of the water and things like that. He does that with the food as well, and it's really beautiful. And
That's so important.
It is. We don't think about that. We just go on autopilot and just take in our food. But if you are mindful of how you eat and you're cooking, if you're speaking to the food with love as you're cooking, think of how that'll help your family.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Beautiful stuff. So our first winner who won with me is Lynn Hess. So congratulations, Lynn. And the second winner who won with Teresa is Stephanie Lynn. So that's awesome. Very exciting. And whoever shares out the most this week will announce next week, and they will win with Rhonda.
Yeah.
So
Great.
very fun. Yes. Thank you all for hanging out today. And thank you so much, Jessica, for hanging out. We love spending time with you. And this has been a really awesome. I love how we didn't know where it was going and it just took off on its own as usual, took on a life of its own. So
yeah. So give a little bit, check out where we can find you. Because
yes,
you have
please.
to really talk about where you're going. So
yes. Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned the last time I was on the show, I hadn't even started the Breakthrough Show yet. And now it's not just the Breakthrough Show, it's the Breakthrough Show Network. And we have several shows that premiere on thebreakthroughshow.com. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and then also our partner E360 TV. You can check out on Amazon, Roku, Apple, all of that. We're on the Positive Vibrations channel. But also, so we have the Breakthrough Show is coming back for season 6 on my birthday on February 4th, which I'm super excited about.
Very cool.
And Project Joy is moving not just from Mondays, but it's going to be Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Central Time. The first thing you see in the morning, that's my hope. We also have Rewriting Reality the last Monday, Divine DNA every Wednesday, Throwback Thursday the last Thursday, and My Way is a brand new show for entrepreneurs that's going to be premiering February 8th every other Tuesday. So really excited about that, but you can go to thebreakthroughshow.com. That's the best, or jessicadugas.com is the best way to find me.
Awesome. And you put a little coupon in the description here. You're having a workshop next week?
Yes. Wednesday, I'm having a My Word workshop. So you probably heard there's a book, I think, that does My One Word. There were people choose a word of the year. And I never actually knew about that. Had no idea about that book or anything. But I had been choosing a word of the year since 2015. And in lieu of resolutions or big goals or anything like that, I just choose a word. And so I'm hosting a workshop this Wednesday. And if you put in the word spirit, you can get 20, it's already super cheap anyway, but you can get 25% off for watching the show today. And I hope to see some of you guys on Wednesday. We're going to have a good time to choose a word of the year in a collective, collaborative space.
That sounds really cool. I've never heard of that. That's a whole new thing. So so everybody will see you next year. And we're going to have Emily Harrison in sort of as an anniversary kind of thing. And hopefully we'll have a great lineup of new guests coming in 2022. And maybe we'll have you back again, Jessica, if you have time to come back in and see how Jesus has turned over the temple.
We won't let it go 3 years this time, unless he really flips it. Unless he really yeets it, as the kids say.
Hey, listen, we've decided that if something happened, the technology were to bomb, we'll just have, telepathic shows. We'll still be here.
That's it. Absolutely.
We'll still make it happen. It's okay. We'll just have people tune in differently. That's all.
That's all.
Yeah. But
Well,
yeah.
actually, do it by telephone. Hello.
Oh
Anyway.
God.
Foil rabbit ears. If we
Yep.
just put
Oh
the
yeah.
foil, you know.
Yeah, I came from that year. Yeah, yeah. It was black and white TV. Yeah, we could do that.
Yes.
Oh God.
Thanks.
Well, thank you all so much for hanging out. And for those of you who have been with us from the beginning, thank you for 4 amazing seasons. We are so grateful to have all of you here with us every single Sunday. We're here for you. We do this because we love hanging out with you guys so much every week and hanging out with our amazing guests. So thank you. And we wish you a very happy, blessed new year.
Thanks.